Hi, I'm Jonathan Miller. I'm an instructional designer, trainer, and e-learning developer with over 20 years experience in training and development. In this video, what I want to take a look at is an example such as this, where you've got a bunch of images and then you have a list on your slide calling out each one of these images. As you open the slide, all of these images animate in, they're one at a time, and that's great, but then we go to animate in the text highlighting them, and it's only one at a time. And it's a trick to make sure that this list animates along with these images, because we get into the same situation of if we have a lot of text and we just present it all at once and don't work to animate that in and talk about it point by point, your learners are just going to stare at those images and they're not really going to pay attention to what you're saying. So the best way, in my opinion, to make this work and to make this a much more effective slide is going to be to animate in your image along with the text discussing or representing that image, such as this. So we see this first image come in, it's Taekwondo. Now people are looking at this image, but only for a moment. They're taking it in, they're listening to what you have to say versus trying to take in all of these images and maybe even all of the text at the same time. And then as I animate through these other martial arts sports, we see the image as well as the text animating into the slide at the same time. And it's a great way for you to control what your learners are looking at and to keep them from getting overwhelmed to the point that they no longer are paying attention to what you have to say. Now, it can be a bit of a trick to make these slides work in this fashion. And now we're going to look at just how I do that. This is my process. I'm not saying it's the best and the only way, but this is just how I do it. So I'm going to look at this slide down here as my sample. When I go into the animate pane, I can see all of my animations that we have. We have all of these images. I'm going to get rid of this one because I don't know why it's there. We have all of the images animating in with each other. And then from here, each one of these lines of text is animating in by paragraph. And we always want to do by paragraph when possible. But right now we're running into all of those challenges that I just spoke about. So what I'm going to do is pull this list apart and attach each item in this list to the appropriate image. I'm going to start by making a copy because that's just the easiest way to do it. Pull it down here. Take out everything but that first entry with Taekwondo, and I will reduce the size of that text box just to make it a little more usable. And you can see I went too far there and it changed the font size of the text. So let's bring that out so that it's full. And then I'm going to do this for each one of our entries. So Taekwondo, change this one to kickboxing. And I'm going to fast forward through the next couple here so you don't have to wait. Now what I'm going to do is use the existing text box to get the placement that I need for all of these items, even though they're in their own individual text box. I'll start with the first one, Taekwondo, and it doesn't give me the text in there, so I just kind of have to get close. And then I'm going to use my arrow keys to shift things around, but I need a finer adjustment, so I'm going to hold shift and use my arrow keys. And it's going to give me a lot smaller steps every time I push the key. And again, we're just going to repeat that for all four, and we'll go ahead and speed this up for you as well. Okay, look, we lucked out with that fence and we just about hit it perfect. Now, there is some challenge to this technique. They're not going to be lined up absolutely 100% perfect, and we need to adjust that and make sure that they look nice and even and evenly spaced the way we would always expect a slide to look. I'm going to delete the background of that we use for the positionings that leave us just with these individual entries, and then use our standard tools to clean that up. So we'll go ahead and align everything to the left, and we'll go ahead and distribute everything vertically so that everything is equally spaced and it looks like we would expect it to look. Now I will assign the animation to all of these items. I'll highlight them all, select animate, and it's going to default to fading in, on click, and then with previous. So the functionality would be I click to get the first item in, which is Taekwondo, and the others are going to follow. With previous is good. That's actually the functionality we want on all of them. I'll change this to match. All of these images we need to change to fade in, on click, and you'll see why in just a moment. Now I can just grab each one of these and arrange it in the order that I want it. You can see here I'm selecting Taekwondo, so I'll just grab that, drag it in below the Taekwondo image. Next is kickboxing, so I will grab that. Next is kickboxing. I'll grab that and drag it in under the kickboxing image. Same for judo. And then fencing will be left. Now when I look at this slide, now I'm getting the functionality that I want to out of it. It comes in blank, and I can again control the learner's attention by only animating in the image along with my list items. And my list items are going to be even, nice and even. Oh, I do have a mistake there. Let's go ahead and back up and fix that. Now let's take a look and see what we've got. The empty slide, of course, now as I click, everything's going to animate in together, both the list entry and the image. Same for kickboxing, judo, and fencing. And again, this allows me to control the learner's attention, so they're only paying attention to what I want them to see. They're not trying to take in the whole slide at once, and they're only taking it in item by item. That's going to lead to a lot better learner engagement, and that's going to lead to a lot better learner retention as well.